AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Function is not the opposite of beauty. Okay, being hot isn't about, wanting to wear shorts, what I do, but I haven't worn shorts in 30 years. It's about being present. It's being about hydrated and supported and doing what your body needs to make it feel good. Compression is healing and, healing is hot. Hey, beautiful soul, and welcome to Dear Body, I'm Listening, the podcast for women navigating chronic symptoms, invisible illness, and that daily dance between hope and exhaustion. If you've ever been told it's all in your head, well, this podcast is for you because your body is not lying and neither are you. Hi, I'm Donna Piper, movement therapist, Pilates instructor, and chronic illness navigator. After years of being dismissed, misdiagnosed, and doing everything quote unquote right, but still getting sicker, I created this space to tell our truth. Here we talk about swelling, brain fog, nervous system crashes, and the kind of symptoms that don't always show up on lab results. We're going to explore lymph, breath, movement, self-trust, latest research, books, relationships, basically everything. All from a place of compassion and honesty. This isn't about fixing your body. It's about finally being heard and getting some answers. So welcome, beautiful soul, and welcome to Dear Body, I'm Listening, the podcast for women navigating chronic illness, invisible illness, and that daily dance between hope and exhaustion. If you've ever been told it's all in your head, this podcast is for you. Because your body is not lying and neither are you. So again, my name is Donna Piper. I'm a movement therapist, Pilates instructor, and chronic illness navigator. After years of being misdiagnosed, dismissed, and doing everything quote unquote right, but still getting sicker, I created this space to tell the truth, our truth about invisible illness. So here we talk about swelling, brain fog, nervous system crashes, all the things that don't show up on your lab results. And we explore different things like lymph, breath, movement, self-trust, latest research, on, basically everything, all from a place of compassion and honesty. This isn't about fixing you or your body. You're not broken. It's about finally being heard and getting some answers. So let's dive into the Real Talk recap for this week. Okay, let's be real. There's absolutely nothing glamorous about pulling on full pantyhose or thigh-high compression hose or even socks, especially in the summer, right? When it's even 80 degrees and above, and if you're wearing them under jeans like I do, it's already a lot. But then walking around and in the heat, it's definitely not my favorite. But here's the truth I've come to understand. Function is not the opposite of beauty. Okay, being hot isn't about, wanting to wear shorts, what I do, but I haven't worn shorts in 30 years. It's about being present. It's being about hydrated and supported and doing what your body needs to make it feel good. So I know when I wear my compression hose, I don't feel sexy, but I do know I have less pain and I wear them a lot. Like right now, as we record this episode, I am going through some intensive decongestion wrapping phase. So basically, if you haven't done it, you have lipedema or any sort of lymphedema, any sort of swelling, I got it covered by my insurance. So see if you can find someone in your area, see if you have a therapist, talk to people about it. But basically what they do is you go in, the program that I'm going to at Hoag in Newport Beach, Hoag Irvine, but Hoag is a hospital thing in Southern California. And this is how they do it. Other facilities around here do it a little different. But they basically go in and you wrap one leg. So you literally from your groin, thigh up, high thigh to your foot, is all bandage and short stretch compression. And what that does is that helps push the lymph from your foot. So usually you don't have any for lipedema. We cup at the end, so there's no swelling in the foot. It's really the ankle, but they don't want swelling to go down into your foot, because with the compression hose, and the idea of the compression hose, especially for women with lipedema to get flat knit, is that we want to push the lymph from the lowest or from highest energy to lowest. So we're pushing it up. So we wrap this whole thing, one leg, one day. You stay in for the whole night. If you want to unbandage it and take a shower, then go in. But basically 22 to 24 hours, your leg is wrapped, and then the therapist rewraps it again. They do some lymphatic drain massage, and then they rewrap it and they measure it. And then if you plateau with it, then they stop the wrapping. And then the next week, for the next 4 days, you do the same thing on the left side. So I had pretty good results this time. The first day it went down, and then I plateaued over the next few days. So it's probably something I'm going to do again. But right now, yeah, it was nice to see that I'd had some reduction. And all of your expectations are really managed when you do this for lipedema, because it's not like lymphedema. You're not going to have a huge reduction of your tissue, because what is there is diseased fat, right? But I want to get as much of what's not the diseased fat. I want to take care of my inflammation, and I want to get as much fluid working in the right way with as much as support that I have. And even though this is not glamorous, it is a part of reclaiming my health, part of me not giving up on my legs and my legs not giving up on me, right? So no compression might be not cute by mainstream standards. They are trying to make them a little cuter now, but compression is healing, and, healing is hot. So we go full circle. So this week, Let's Get Lymphatic is all about the compression basics. Because if you're dealing with lipedema, mast cell, EDS, POTS, even for a degree, ME/chronic fatigue syndrome, sometimes it's not optional, it's essential, because it really does help with the pain management. It helps with the swelling and the inflammation, and it gives your lymph that extra oomph. Because with all of these things, with everything that I'm talking about and everything I have, our lymph system is somehow in some form compromised, because maybe the connective tissue in the blood, like all the things. Like, I'm not a doctor, but I live in this body, so I can tell you my experience. And we want to help whatever we can to get that compression going. So there's a special type for lipedema. So I am not, because I have all the things, I don't know if there's a better compression if you have POTS or if you have this. I know that I wear also stability, and we'll go through that probably later on too. But I use some, like a shirt and a bra that's made for EDS, that's made for having hypermobility. So it kind of holds my skeletal system together, so I don't have to work as hard. So this flat knit compression is like that. It's custom made. It's medically graded here, and it's firmer and has more structure than off-the-shelf options. And that's what you want, because we have, depending on your level of fibrosis in there and nodules, if your lipedema has like little nodules in it or grainy, we want to break that stuff up and make it smaller so it can potentially get through the lymphatic system. If it's going to, always surgery is most likely what's going to make it go away. And it provides a healing element to it. So this compression, flat knit compression, also provides a gradient pressure, higher at the ankle and lower as it goes up, to help the lymph and flow upward where it belongs, right? So blood flow goes down and around, but lymph comes all the way up into, so you have the major arteries that it flows into is right around the collarbone. And that's where we want to push everything up into there. From our head, our lymphatic system, we want to drain it down and into the terminus, which is around the collarbone. Mainly the left, but there's also drain on the right. So for many of us, starting point is about 20 to 30 mmHgs, and this gives you enough support for circulation with cutting out movement or comfort. And when you're in the earlier stages of lymphedema, mast cell, or experience POTS, and always check that out with your doctor because, again, I have POTS, but I don't have my other symptoms are more severe. POTS symptoms were more severe when I was younger, when I didn't even know I had it. But it can reduce swelling, pain, dizziness upon standing, and fatigue from poor circulation. So why does this matter? So with lipedema, it reduces the heaviness and the pain of the legs. For mast cell, it supports histamine stability, yes, by improving lymph flow. So if we can get all of this stuff out, like of our system to help push it through, that's our detoxification system, right? And then also with mast cell, you have some histamine, sort of like you could do over the counter H1 and H2 antihistamines, and also a thing called DOA, which is an enzyme that gobbles up extra histamine. So if you listen to that episode a few episodes ago, I gave you some resources with that, and we'll go in much deeper. There's always there's so much about each one of these topics. I'm going to kind of get more and more into it as we go on because I'm overwhelmed by all this stuff. And I'm sure you listening to this might also be overwhelmed. And then with the POTS, I know the circulation does help prevent blood pooling from the lower extremities. And because it's a whole thing, and I'll give you a link to look it up on your own if you want more information, but it helps reduce dizzy spells and flares. So in addition to the compression, I talked about it a little earlier. I'm going through decongestive therapy. This is wrapping. And it's usually what you like to do before your compression garments get fitted. So once you're in a program, so sometimes you just go to your local manual lymphatic drainage specialist and they might be doing it for you. They might want to wrap or not. But for me, I'm getting my compression garments finally covered by insurance. So this is something that you do in order to kind of get your body in a place, whereas any lymph that's stagnant and not supposed to be there, let's get that out. And then when I get my compression hose, it'll be more form fitting to what I'm going to be needing where my body is at right now. So wrapping does help remove stagnant lymph, reduce swelling before the measuring of the garments, and prepares the tissue for long-term maintenance. And it can be intense, like having a whole thing wrapped. Sometimes you'll even have both legs wrapped. And it's a commitment. You really don't do much. You can. It's not like you can't go out. I have been doing more power plate and I do more things to get my body moving. And then walking, because the short strip bandage also is helping. The more movement you have in your body, that also helps pump up the lymph. And it is a commitment and it is a whole thing. So just be prepared that it's not just easy. Some people have a lot of discomfort with it. I haven't had really the discomfort that much. There's a little pain in my foot, but you're wrapped like half of a mummy for a week. So, but the results can be less swelling, lighter legs, and less pain. So it is worth it. And I know from talking to my parent technique therapist, she also does lymphatic drainage and she works with lymphedema and lipedema. And she says it's one of the best things. It is the highest standard of care because how the short bandages work, and also to kind of break up some of that fibrotic stuff, depending how your legs are. It does over time. So you would have a longer time with it. It wouldn't just be probably just the 4 days for each leg that I'm doing. So talk to your therapist, do your research, see if you're a candidate for it. And try it, but it is a commitment. And also, if you can, maybe you don't have access to insurance. Maybe they're not funding. Insurance is a whole thing. They don't really recognize these illnesses like they should to get us the support that we need. But you can look up some of the high quality flat knit and just Google it. And there is a place in Germany that's kind of the epicenter for all kind of compression wear. And they do, I think, yearly, maybe semi-yearly sort of conventions to talk about the latest thing. So I'll put the links down below, but there's Joyps and I think Medi are the two. And they require custom measurements. And that's the best thing to do if you have lipedema. There's also a brand that I was encouraged to get when I first got diagnosed by Dr. Eicher, and I can use that link too. They're 20 to 30 grade. And you just want to make sure that it's, not too tight. There's things that go with compression because you're just making things go up. So always check with your doctor to see if you have any other conditions other than the ones I'm talking about that might be contraindicated. And yeah, so the garment is really there to do some of the heavy lifting for you. There is nighttime garments and there's all these other, but basically I just get them for the day and I wear them. Then I wash them and I have another pair. So in the next few weeks, I'm getting finally custom garments made and I will let you know how that goes. So now I'm into our question segment for the program. So this is my Ask Donna. So the question I got this week is, how do you stay confident wearing medical gear in public? Well, that's a hard one because I was like, oh, I want to make sure I can cover it up. So I was wearing jeans before and a little wider leg jeans. So I put that underneath. And a lot of times I'll wear skirts, especially when I fly. We just came back from Italy and going there and back and the whole day, I just wore a skirt that's comfortable. So I have pantyhose types that are full toe. So that's the kind of compression I have. So, sitting for a long amount of time, sometimes depending on how I feel that day, it could be a little bit too much tightness in the stomach. So that's why I like to wear skirts, especially in flying or if I'm going to go a really long time. And I used to hide it a little more. I still kind of do depending on how I feel. But I have to remember that having this compression gear on is going to help. It helps me with my pain. So that's the main ways I do it. So I'm like, do I look so fashionable all the time? Heck no. But I found some wrap skirts and some different skirts that I can wear my hose enough down so it doesn't look so goofy. And I'm still kind of a work in progress, wearing clothes and finding clothes that fit with the size, with my proportions. It was a little easier when I was a smaller size. I always had a thicker bottom, right? But however the pants were cut, just where I was thick in my upper thighs, I wasn't so wide. I could find a proportion. So I didn't dislike how I looked in clothes so much. As I have gained over, let's say I went from 140 to 180 at my highest so now I'm still high. I'm 177, but still 3 pounds. That widened me out and I'm short. So I always kind of feel like a round ball. So my waist that I used to always rely on went away as I've gotten into a different stage. So getting clothes is challenging, but I still try to, get dressed up. I don't always want to feel like I'm just hiding my body. And layering helps with having the compression hose. And from what I've seen for the new styles and things, you can, they're trying to make the compression hose look more like leggings. So maybe there's hope to be really cute, but sometimes you just have to make yourself feel cute, whether it's glasses or accessories. I know for me, sometimes my shoes are what I would like to focus on because they're cute. And I make an outfit work with my compression hose to make at least I feel good about something that I'm wearing. Other days I put things on and I don't mind it. But those days, we all have them where it's like, ugh, I have to put these things on and I don't look cute. So that's my take on that. So now let's go to a little feel-good flow for the day. So this is one of my favorite self-care rituals, and it supports the lymph, and it also helps soften some of the tight fascia, and it reconnects you with your body. So anytime I do any lymph work, I always do Dr. Perry's Big Six. I went through both of his, I think 2 or 3 of his programs, but I did lymphatic and I did glymphatic. That is how I was able to find Dr. Eicher, which was a blessing. So I always clear all the major ones, and I'll leave a link down below if you don't know what I'm talking about. Then when I do my leg massage, I use some oil. You can use castor oil. You can use almond oil. You could use coconut oil, something that you aren't allergic to. and gua sha. So I have various kinds. Some are just the small, regular, traditional ones. Other ones I found this big leg one. So really it's just something that has an edge that you feel comfortable on your bodies. Because remember, like we bruise a lot. It's connective tissue issue. So whether you're dealing with all or one of these things, that you want to get something that's going to be a nice material. So now they make so much. It's so available for different gua sha. I think what I got a long time ago, there was just jade. And that I think is comfortable also for my hand because of the hypermobility. Sometimes I don't like doing this stuff because it's like my hand gets really tight. So that's your setup. And then set a vibe for you. If you really want to make it really luxurious, put on a fun playlist. You could do essential oil diffuser if you're good with that. Maybe some lighting. And then you can warm the oil in your hands, whatever it is, just a few drops. And then also if you want to add, if you're okay with like frankincense or something like that, has like a higher energy oil to it it's supposed to really foster, like it has all the benefits. I'll leave a link for what frankincense does or something else that you feel like maybe is a good oil that you could, and if it's tolerated or sent to it. And then you just start at your ankles and do gentle strokes upward towards your heart. So using the tool, you gently scrape along with light sweeps for your calves, your outer thighs, and inner thighs. Always go up, never down, because we want to get that. And it's minimal pressure. You're not scraping. It's just minimal. And then focus on tender areas with like a more of a light touch. So there's a few points in your legs, in your thighs, that if you just touch them gently or acupuncture, they might be more sensitive and it just might feel intuitively to stroke a little. So I would do whatever you can so you're more intuitive with this. You know where your legs maybe feel more congested, more tight, maybe has more of that kind of ricey feel. But the main thing is that you're just kind of giving yourself that extra boost from all the way down and then coming up after you've cleared out your 6 major areas so that lymph has somewhere to go. Because that's something that we don't want to do. We don't want to either push our lymph in the wrong direction, or if we're clogged, we're pushing stuff now and then it has nowhere to go. Right. And just do this for a few minutes. You could do 5-10 minutes. It could be like 2 minutes, 1 minute each leg, just something that you feel that you're giving some nurturing to your legs. And then you can do an added bonus and rest with your legs up the wall for like 5 or 10 minutes. And this is really nice to do like after you've had like a long day before bedtime. It's very relaxing. And it also gives you time, because I have not wanted to spend a lot of times in my upper thighs at times in my life. Even now I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I look and I'm like, it doesn't look like my body. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like who's in that mirror? So I really have tried to integrate some of these practices a little bit more so I could start looking at my body and start accepting it more and start giving a little bit more love and nourishment and thanking it for what it does do, not what it's not doing. So thank you for listening today. If you have any questions, always let me know. But if this episode has made you feel even a little more seen, brought you a tiny bit of clarity, or just reminded you that you're not alone, please take a moment to rate, review, and send it to someone who needs that same reminder. You can find more tools, blog posts, and support over at donnapiper.com. And hey, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Again, if you have a question for me, please send it to donna@donnapiper.com. And it could just be a story or a flare-up confession or anything you want to share. And until next time, dear body, I'm listening. And I am so glad you're here. If this episode made you feel even more seen, brought you clarity, or reminded you that you're not alone, please take a moment to rate, review, and send it to someone who needs that same reminder. You can find more tools, blog posts, and support over at donnapiper.com. And hey, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Got a question for me? Every month I do a listener coaching episode, and I'd love to hear from you. Send your questions, stories, or flare-up confessions to Donna@DonnaPiper.com. And you just might hear your answer on the show. Until next time, dear body, I'm listening, and I am so glad that you are here.
La vida no se detiene cuando te enfermas. Las vacunas contra las enfermedades respiratorias pueden protegerte para que juegues con tu compañero fiel. Según tu edad y tu salud, podrían recomendarte vacunas contra la gripe, el COVID-19, el VRS o la infección neumocócica. Vacunarte puede ayudarte a seguir en el juego. Infórmate en cveep.org/ES/vacunas-protegen. Presentado por The American Lung Association y CVIP, combatiendo enfermedades respiratorias infecciosas.